fifth, I think.
What about the molar? How about the molarity?
Molarity was 5.
5. This is 6.
This is 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fifth, right?
Did I?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. This is our 6th conversion factor. Hey. Let's stop talking, please. Thank you. You've already done this one. We did it back in Unit 2. It is density. Okay, so it's nothing new. You can convert between liters and grams. You can convert between grams and milliliters. You can convert between grams and centimeters cubed. Any of those will work. Okay, it just depends on what you are given in the question. Yes? And then, of course, if you have grams, what will you be converting it into in this unit, the mole unit? Into moles using the molar mass. So what we're doing is we're adding in grams. So you can be given a volume of a solid or a liquid or a gas. You'll notice this is not a solution. If you want to find volume of a solution, that one is going to be see how volume of a solution is here, right? And you use molarity to get to moles, and that's what you spent the last couple days doing, yes? If you have volume of a solid, liquid, or gas, this is on your purple sheet, by the way. Okay, this is your purple sheet. If you have a volume of a solid, liquid, or gas, you can go from that using density to the grams. Okay, so let us go back to page 71. Go. So how many moles are contained in 23 milliliters of ethanol? And we are given its density. Whoa, that's really big. That's okay. Now, when you see this, remember, if you see something where you have if you see something where you have this slash, don't leave it as a slash. Rewrite it as 0.789 grams per milliliter. Okay? And we're going to say, how many moles are contained in 23 milliliters of ethanol? What should we do with our milliliters? Put it down at the bottom so that it cancels out. And what should we put on the top? Grams. Because we have a conversion factor that does grams to milliliters. And we can put our numbers in there, 0.789 per 1 milliliter. Do we know how to go from grams to moles? We use the molar mass to go from grams to moles. So we need to cancel the grams and find the moles. And this is going to be our molar mass. And we have 12.0 times 2. We have 5 times 1.0. We have 1 times 16.0. And we have, let's just make that a 6 times 1 because we've got that extra hydrogen on the end. Yes? So 12 times 2 is 24, plus 6 is 30, plus 16 is 46. Let's check and see if I did my math correctly. 46, yay. Okay, So here we go, we've got that, and we have 46. Do I need to write 0.0? Yes. Grams per mole. We calculate that. We've got X. Oh, I guess I don't need to. It's over here. So we end up with 0.395 moles. Is good. So we're just adding one extra step. What volume of aluminum oops. Grab that. So we want the volume of aluminum. What volume of aluminum? Now, if I want volume, what unit would I be working in? Either liters or milliliters, depending on which one is easier. Because if it doesn't specify, I should just go with whatever's easier. Okay? How many liters or milliliters? We'll decide on that. I'm guessing I would like to use milliliters because my density is given in milliliters. So let's use how many milliliters? And we are starting with 8.35 moles. How do I know that that's what I'm starting with and I'm not starting with 2.70 grams per milliliter? How do I know to start with the moles rather than the density? The density is a conversion factor. It's got one unit over top of a second unit, okay? And almost 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you're not going to start with a this over that at the beginning. You're going to just start with a single unit. All right. Can I convert from moles to milliliters? Do I know a conversion factor between moles and milliliters? Nope. Okay, I do not. Only if I was dealing with a solution. Yes, I would be able to go from moles to liters of solution. But this is not a solution, this is a solid. So it does not have a molarity. But what can I convert moles into that will get me closer to milliliters? Grams, because if I can find grams, I can find milliliters. So we need aluminum, and it has a molar mass of 27.0. What's the unit for that? Not just grams. Molar mass is grams per mole. Okay? So I want my moles down here, and I want my grams up here, because moles need to cancel. This is AL. That is 27.0. Whoops, not 2.7, 27. For 1 mole. And actually, I just want to do this in 2 steps here. There we go. And now we need to convert our grams into milliliters. And guess what? We have grams and we have milliliters. Because there's no number with the milliliter, that's going to be a 1. And for grams, you have 2.70 grams. All right, and we get 8.35 times 27 divided by, 2.7. So we get 83.5 milliliters. Is good? Easy? Okay. The density of water is 1 gram per milliliter. This is on our next page. The density of water is 1 gram per milliliter. Whoa, where are you going? How many water molecules are present in 2.56 milliliters at this temperature? So, how many water molecules are there in 2.56 milliliters? And we have the density. What can we convert milliliters into? And we're given 1.00 grams per milliliter. What can we convert milliliters into? Grams. Okay, milliliters can go to grams. So milliliters is going to go to grams. Can we go from grams to molecules? No. But what can we go from grams to? Grams can go to moles, and then moles can go to molecules. So this is going to be a 1, 2, 3-step process. Okay, so we have cancel out the milliliters and find the grams. There's 1.00 grams per milliliter. Cancel out the grams and find the moles. Now this is water. Does anyone know the molar mass of water off by heart? 18. Okay, if you have to, it's 2 1s and 16. 18 grams per mole. And then finally, we don't want moles, we want molecules. This is the number of molecules. What do we use when we go from moles to the number of something? Avogadro's number, okay? So moles go here. Water molecules go here. I got one person who knows what's up, at least. Giving me funny looks.
Moles of what? And also, another thing is the number.
The 1 should be with the mole. I should not have a mole of moles, which is what that is. That's a mole and that's a mole. That's a mole of moles. That's 6.02 times 10 to the 23 times 6.02 times 10 to the 23. That is a bad thing there. The 1 should go with the mole, unless you were dealing with molarity, and we're not. So the 1 goes with the mole. The 6.02 times 10 to the 23 goes with the particles. And we calculate that out, and we get, let's go back to our thing over here. We get 8.56 times 10 to the 22 water molecules. Ah, we're not there yet. We'll get there. Don't worry. Okay. How are we feeling about these? Do we want to do the next 2 examples or do we want to move on?
Move on.
I got move on. Who wants to move on? Who wants the next 2 examples? Like 2. Okay. I'll do 1 more example. Okay. Ooh, actually, maybe I should do that one. I'm going to do this one because it's a little bit different. Okay. Okay, so this is the example at the bottom of the page. What is the density of gold if we have 0.02780 moles and it has a volume of 0.2836 milliliters. Now, here's a little hint. There are certain things you cannot get by converting. You cannot find molarity by converting. Molarity is a division. You take your moles and divide by your liters. You cannot find density by converting, unless you're converting from one unit of density to another unit of density, because you need to have your grams over your liters. So if you look at your purple sheet, and if anybody wants another purple sheet, by the way, I'm happy to give you one. Over in the corner, down at the bottom, you'll notice that it says molarity. And it's got a formula here. Yeah, that's a division. So molarity is a division. Density is the mass over the volume, so that's going to be a division, not a conversion. You might have to convert before you do the division, but the actual finding density is going to be a division. Mass divided by volume. So, going back here, density is equal to the mass divided by the volume. Do we have the volume?
Yes.
Yes. We know that the volume is 0.2836 milliliters. Do we know the mass? No. Could we find the mass? Yes. 0.02780. 0.02780 moles of gold times, we want to cancel moles of gold and find grams of gold. Molar mass of gold is 197.0. So 0.02780 times 197 is 5.4766. 5.4766. Do I do sig figs before I'm done?
Oh, no, you're convert all.
Yeah, I don't want to round off yet, right? And that's grams. Okay, so I've got 5 divided by 0.2836 equals 19.311. And now we look at sig figs and I say, I've got 4 sig figs here and I've got 4 sig figs here. So my answer should have 4 sig figs. That's going to become 19.31 grams per milliliter. Yes.
Well, say we do wrong, and we stick the moles and the milliliters together, and use that to find the density. We use that to find the weight. We'll use that to find the mass. Will we end up with a mass and concentration instead? Like, in a sense?
You'll end up with moles instead of mass.
Yes.
So just before we carry on with this, I also want to show you another way of doing this. If you like being very efficient in your work, you can say density is equal to mass over volume. That's great. And you can say, all right, I know the volume 0.2836 milliliters. I'm going to be really weird here, and I'm going to stick my 0.02780 moles up here. Oh dear, but moles is not mass. But I can do my conversion right here. Yeah? If I want to. If you don't like this, just ignore what I'm doing right now. I can say 197.0 grams per 1 mole. And that's going to give me exactly the same answer, 19.31 grams. So if you prefer to do it that way because you like the efficiency of it, that's great. But if it confuses you, pretend I said nothing. Okay? All right. All right. Next. Molar mass of an unknown substance. We are now on page 76. Calculate the molar mass of a compound. This is page 76. Calculate the molar mass of a compound if 0.7472 moles has a mass of 178 grams. What is the unit of molar mass? No.
Grams over mole.
Grams per mole. Not just grams. Molar mass is grams per mole. So if you want to find molar mass, what do you need to do? You need to put the grams on the top and the moles on the bottom. Do you see how this is another division? So if we go back to our purple sheet, molarity is a division. Density is a division. Molar mass, if you have an unknown substance, you cannot look it up on the periodic table. I'm like, there's an unknown substance. Do you know its formula? No. How could you look it up? You can't, but you will be given the grams and you will be given the moles. And again, this is a division, not a conversion. Okay? We won't be doing molar volume unless you're interested in doing some enriched stuff. Okay? And I can provide that to you on another day if you want it. Okay, so all you do is you take your grams, 178 grams, and you divide by 0.472 moles. And many people will stop there and they'll be like, look, I found my mass. What is wrong with that? Molar mass is the mass of how many moles? 1 mole. Not the mass of 0.472 moles. How do we make it 1 mole? We simply divide and it becomes 1 mole. Okay? So you do that division, 178 divided by 0.472, and we get 377.12. However, we have 3 sig figs, and we have 3 sig figs. So that's going to then round to 377, and our unit, grams per mole. If you prefer, you can write it like this, 377 grams per mole, or you can write it like this, 377 grams per mole. As an answer, it doesn't matter. You can use that little slash. Okay? Next one. Calculate the molar mass of a compound This compound is unknown. There's no formula. Can't use the periodic table. but we need its molar mass. How do we calculate molar mass? Molar mass is equal to the what over what? Grams over moles. So let's see. Do we have grams? Yes, we have 892.6 grams. Do we have moles? No. So you can say, well, what do I have? I have 4.399 times 10 to the 24 molecules. Could I find moles from that? Yeah, absolutely. Let's cancel our molecules and find the moles.
No.
Are we paying attention? Do we like what I've written?
No.
No, what's wrong with what I've written? Yeah, I've got it upside down, right? The one should go with the mole. Okay, so we get the 1 mole and the 6.02 times 10 to the 23. We do that calculation, 4.399 E24 divided by 6.02 E23 equals 7.3073. 7.3073. 1. And that is moles. I do that calculation, 892.6, and we get 122.15. How many sig figs should we have in this answer? We have 4, we have 3, and we have 4, so it should be 3 sig figs. So that's going to become 122 grams per mole. So if you like that, you can do it that way. Like density, if you want to, there's another way that is a slightly more efficient. Molar mass equals grams over moles. We're still going to have our 892.6 grams, but instead of putting the moles there, we're going to start by putting the 4.399 times 10 to the 24 molecules on the bottom. And then we're going to convert our molecules into moles. Where would I have to put molecules in order to convert? Do the molecules go on the top or the bottom of that conversion factor? They have to go on the top. So there go our molecules. And then we want those to cancel, and we want moles to be on the bottom. So moles go on the bottom. 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules per 1 mole. And that gives us 122 grams per mole. Same thing. Do you want to know the most famous molar mass question that tricks everybody every time? And even though I show it to you and say it's going to be on the quiz, still probably about half of you will be like, what?
What is it?
Okay. It is, I think it's the next one. Let's see. Yes, there we go. So this is on page 77. Page 77. Oleic acid is one of the main fats in olive oil. Do we need any of that information?
No.
No. A molecule of oleic acid has a mass of 464.692 times 10 to the negative 22 grams. What is the molar mass? And everyone then at that point on the quiz is like, excuse me, what's the formula for oleic acid? And I will tell you, you don't need it. Why don't you need it? Oleic acid has an unknown formula. I don't know it off by heart. What do we do if we have an unknown formula to find molar mass? Do we use the periodic table? No, this is not on the periodic table. How do we find then molar mass? I have the mass. That's good. And what would I like on the bottom? Moles. I do not have moles. Okay, so let's just plug in our grams because we know we can do that. 4.692 times 10 to the negative 22 grams. I do not have moles. Nowhere in that question does it say moles. What do I have? I have molecules. How many molecules? One molecule. How do I know that I have one molecule? A. One molecule. So you do have to be able to read the question and interpret it. A molecule. There you go. If I said a pair of molecules, you would have two molecules, but I probably won't do that, okay? But if you say a molecule, that means we have one molecule. So you can say, all right, I have one molecule, but I don't want molecules. I want to have moles, and I need to cancel the molecules. 1 mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules. And that gives me 1.6611 times 10 to the negative 24 moles. So we can then take those moles and put them in where we have our moles. 1.6611 times 10 to the negative 24 moles. Do that division. 4.692e 22 negative equals 282.46. But we use this, so we can only have 3 sig figs. So that's going to then become 282. And what's our unit? Grams over moles. Okay. Could you do it a little more efficiently? You probably could. Molar mass is equal to grams over moles. Let's throw in our grams, 4.692 times 10 to the negative 22 grams. What if I didn't put moles down there? What if I put my molecules? How many molecules did I have? I had 1. Remember? 1 molecule. Well, I don't want molecules on the bottom, so I need to cancel molecules by putting it on the top and put moles on the bottom. 6.02 times 10 to the 23 molecules per 1 mole. Okay, so you're going to get something. It's going to say a fat molecule, a protein molecule, lipoic acid. And you're going to be like, what's lipoic acid? And you're going to be like, oh, anthracene. What's anthracene? And I will say, you don't need to know. That means you'll have a certain number of molecules. Okay? And there we are. And that's it. So you could do right now, page 77 and 78. And let's see, what's the other bit? 77, 78, 73. Oh, no, I don't want that one. Is that the one I want? Yeah.
Alan.
Ooh, yeah, okay. 73, 74. 77, 78. I'll put 75 there in brackets in case you want to add that in. I would like to give you guys a quiz on section. Let me see what it is. Oh, we still need to do gases. That's going to happen tomorrow. So our quiz will be on Friday.
Oh, thank you.
So it's going to be molarity, density, molar mass of an unknown substance, and gases. And we'll do gases tomorrow. Okay? Unless you want me to teach you gases today. Do you want to learn gases today? No? Okay. Quiz Friday on density, molarity, molar mass of unknown substance and gases. Okay? And I think our test will be late next week. Okay?
Test already?
Late next week. Do you understand that we're only on Tuesday of this week? So late next week means like more than a week away. Okay?